Is this the death of a legend or the birth of a nightmare? Behind the closed doors of the Aragon circuit, Yamaha's billion-dollar gamble just hit a wall of reality. They built a V-Fi engine to kill the Ducati, but they ended up creating a monster that even the world's best riders are afraid to push. From internal civil wars to life-threatening mechanical flaws, the following chapters reveal the brutal truth that Yamaha didn't want you to see. This is the story of a factory on the brink, a rider who refused to lie, and a machine that might just be the most expensive mistake in racing history. The competitive landscape of global motorcycle racing has been dramatically reshaped following a high-stakes, closed-door test session at the legendary Aragon circuit. Yamaha, a titan once synonymous with effortless dominance, arrived with desperate hope, pinning their entire future on the debut of a secretive VSC engine prototype. They sought to close the humiliating performance gap established by their European rivals, believing this mechanical heart would be their salvation. However, what was intended to be a grand technological unveiling has instead devolved into a profound and terrifying internal crisis. The garage doors remained shut, but the shockwaves felt inside were unmistakable. The verdict from their top-tier rider was not just a critique, it was a death sentence for the current design. He was brutally honest and painfully clear. The machine is not a masterpiece of engineering, but rather an untamable and dangerous monster that defies all logic. Yamaha's ultimate ambition was deceptively simple. They wanted raw, unadulterated power to slay the giants of the straightaways. On that specific promise, the new V-Fi engine certainly delivers, screaming down the tarmac and achieving the competitive top speeds that Yamaha engineers had been chasing for a weary decade. Yet, this newfound brute force has arrived at a devastating, perhaps fatal cost to the bike's soul. The massive boost in horsepower was not met with any corresponding increase in stability or electronic control. The result is a deeply paradoxical machine, terrifyingly fast on paper and in a straight line, but fundamentally unrideable when pushed to the competitive limit of a Grand Prix circuit. This failure strikes at the very heart of Yamaha's historic engineering identity, a brand that was built on being smooth, precise, and user-friendly. Now, that legacy is being burned away by a fire they cannot control. This escalating crisis was crystallized by the harsh, uncompromising critique delivered by one of the world's most aggressive and talented racers. Known for pushing machinery far beyond the laws of physics, his feedback was a cold shower for the Japanese engineers. He testified with haunting sincerity that the machine offers absolutely no sense of security when pushed to maximum velocity, particularly when leaning into the razor-thin margins of high-speed corners. His warning to the gathered engineering team was stark and echoed through the halls of the paddock, without a radical ground-up overhaul focused on rider comfort and handling precision. This new bike will be nothing more than a pile of expensive scrap metal. In his eyes, as it stands today, it is a machine entirely incapable of challenging for world championships, leaving the team's star talent feeling abandoned by the very technology meant to save him. Perhaps the most fatal flaw identified during the Aragon sessions lay in the motor's violent behavior during heavy braking and the critical moment of corner entry. Under severe deceleration from speeds exceeding 200 miles per hour, the bike becomes unpredictable, viciously unstable, and prone to mechanical tantrums. The rear section of the motorcycle frequently lifts off the asphalt uncontrollably, violently upsetting the rider's delicate rhythm and directly threatening their physical safety. The transition from high-speed straightaways into the heart of a tight corner, which should be a precision act of grace for a professional, was described as nothing short of a life-threatening gamble. The engine's harsh, unrefined character creates a chaotic feedback loop that shatters a rider's confidence. This isn't just a matter of lost lap time. It is a matter of survival on a machine that seems determined to throw its pilot into the gravel trap. This massive technical breakdown has inevitably spawned significant internal tension, threatening to tear the team apart from the inside out. A fierce and bitter debate is now raging within the Yamaha garage, pitting the prideful engine department against the desperate chassis and electronics teams. For months, the engineers looked at their screens, but now the telemetry data provides undeniable, cold verification of every physical complaint voiced by the riders. The sensors don't lie. The vibration, the torque spikes, and the chassis flex are all there in black and white. Yamaha now faces a profound identity crisis that could define them for the next 20 years. Should they double down on this high-zan power, wild VF concept and attempt to tame it through millions of dollars in sophisticated electronics? Or should they retreat to their historical roots? They are caught between the thirst for speed and the necessity of control. The stakes for this project could not possibly be higher for the Iwata factory. Yamaha understands with agonizing clarity that if this VF project fails catastrophically, they risk being relegated to a mediocre, forgotten position for the next decade. They would find themselves unable to compete with the aggressive, relentless performance standards established by the juggernaut that is Ducati. The painful test session at Aragon must serve as a critical final wake-up call for the board of directors. The feedback from their top racer is a clear signal that merely copying a rival's engine configuration is a fool's errand. Building a successful VC demands more than just 4 cylinders in a V-Zian shape. It requires a deep synergistic integration across electronics, aerodynamics, and chassis mechanics. If they cannot find that harmony, they are simply building a faster way to lose, stuck in the shadow of Italian engineering. As the engineers returned to Japan, the atmosphere was one of somber reflection mixed with defensive posturing. The clash between engineering ego and racing reality has reached a boiling point. For years, the factory relied on its internal processes, but those processes have failed to account for the sheer violence of the VC's power delivery. The path to reclaiming their position as world champions hinges entirely on whether the leadership possesses the courage to set aside their pride and fundamentally redesign the motorcycle. This means re-evaluating weight distribution, center of gravity, and the very rigidity of the frame itself. It is a race against their own shadows. Every day spent defending a flawed design is a day lost to the competition. The monster they created is a reflection of their own ambitions gone wrong, and only a radical shift in philosophy can turn this mechanical beast into a refined tool for championship glory. Yamaha is now racing against a clock that never stops ticking, as new technical regulations are set to be finalized soon. This is the pivotal moment in their modern history. The crisis at Aragon was not just a bad day at the office. It was a diagnostic of a failing system. To survive, they must integrate their legendary handling with this new explosive power, a feat that has eluded them thus far. The development team must commit to radical necessary changes that go beyond simple software patches. They are looking at a complete overhaul of how the engine sits in the frame and how the power reaches the rear tire. The pressure is suffocating as the board demands results, while the riders demand a bike they can actually trust. This is the ultimate test of Yamaha's corporate soul. Can they innovate under the crushing weight of failure, or will they let the clock run out on their championship aspirations? Despite the overwhelming catalog of significant problems and the dark clouds hanging over the team, a small but persistent glimmer of hope remains. The rider, despite his brutal honesty, still believes that the bike holds immense and untapped potential. He felt the raw speed. He knows the heart of a winner is beating somewhere inside that chaotic machine. If the development team can find the courage to listen and the wisdom to pivot, that monster could eventually be tamed into the most dominant force on the grid. This hope is what keeps the mechanics working through the night and the engineers staring at their CAD designs until dawn. The potential for a world-beating motorcycle is there, buried beneath layers of instability and unrefined aggression. It is a diamond in the rough, but the process of cutting and polishing it will be the most difficult challenge Yamaha has ever faced in its long racing history. In the end, the story of the Yamaha Vetheth will be one of two things: a legendary comeback or a cautionary tale of corporate hubris. The world is watching, and the American fans in particular are waiting to see if this iconic brand can return to the top step of the podium. The Aragon test was a trial by fire, revealing the cracks in the armor, but also the path to victory. Their future hinges on the courage to destroy what doesn't work to build what does. If they can fundamentally redesign the stability of this new VSE engine, they will once again be the kings of the track. If they fail, the monster will not only be untamable, it will be the end of an era. The journey from the Aragon disaster to the first race of the season will be the most watched narrative in the paddock. Yamaha stands on the edge of a knife, and the next move they make will determine if they soar to new heights or vanish into the history books.